a race that needed overtime.
Hey, I was built for this.
Are you ready to do this one more time?
Once again, weeks after a highly competitive general election season, Georgia is the only game in town.
I still expect it to be awfully close.
It all comes down to tonight.
We built a multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-religious coalition.
I'm not that politician, I'm that warrior, because I'm not going to say what they want me to say. I'm going to say the truth, and the truth will set you free.
2 men, 1 seat in the U.S. Senate.
It is Election Day once again here in Georgia. The polls will close in just 2 hours, and in a few hours we hope to know who will win the U.S. Senate runoff.
The two candidates, Republican Herschel Walker and Democrat Raphael Warnock, spent the day working to get their voters out to the polls. We have team coverage tonight. Caitlin Ross live with what voters are saying about today's vote. But we begin with Doug Richards live in DeKalb County with more on the candidates' final pushes. Doug?
Yeah, the candidates may want to pay special attention to this particular Brookhaven precinct, where a third-party candidate in November, Chase Oliver, the Libertarian, got kind of an inordinate number of votes, and it was the votes for that third-party candidate that threw this race into a runoff that the two weary candidates left hope will be decided tonight.
Well, good morning, everybody.
In a light rain, about 4 dozen campaign volunteers surrounded Democrat Raphael Warnock at his final public event before the polls close tonight.
We're not leaving anything to chance, which is why we're standing out here getting sprinkled and baptized again.
Their Get Out the Vote operation stayed in motion backstage all day. They're trying to hold on to or expand the thin margin Warnock won in November, though it wasn't enough to avoid this December runoff.
The truth is my opponent could still win this election.
Yet Warnock and his backers stayed upbeat in the final hours before the polls closed. Republican Herschel Walker was also upbeat as he worked a dining room at a cafe in Marietta.
How you doing? Nice to see you.
Famous for decades as a football player, Walker got lots of attention from fans, many of whom view him as a better fit for the U.S. Senate than the incumbent. Walker gave his campaign team credit for keeping the race close and putting him in a position to win in an upset tonight.
I think my closing message is I want to thank them for what they've done right now. We're going to get out and win this election. Herschel Walker is going to be your senator.
And there was an unmistakable weariness in the voice of Herschel Walker, as well as in the voice of Democrat Raphael Warnock during their talks today and during these final events. The question is, how weary will they be tonight, depending on the length of the time that it will take for the votes to be counted. Live in DeKalb County, Doug Richards, 11 Alive News.
Like, you still got the abortion rights that's on the table. We still got people with health care issues that need Medicare costs cheapened.
So many things. I want God put back in our country, for one thing.
Voters in Georgia want their voices to be heard today in this election runoff, and we have crews all over Metro Atlanta talking to a steady stream of voters at polling locations. 11 Alive Caitlin Ross continues our team coverage. She's live in Gwinnett County, tracking the turnout. Caitlin.
Ron, people have been getting in and out really quickly, and that jives with the Secretary of State's website, which says at this point it's only a 1-minute wait across the state of Georgia to get in and cast the vote. The people who I spoke with, though, say they were prepared in case they did have to wait. I talked to a woman who brought a portable chair, a lot of people who had umbrellas in case they had to wait outside. They did not want to be deterred today.
I can hardly stand up, but I want to go vote. They had to teach me how to walk.
Jim Mims just got out of the hospital after being laid up for 7 weeks. He was in such bad shape, he missed the general election in November.
It's very much disappointing.
But he says nothing could stop him from coming out to cast his vote today in DeKalb County.
Very important that we elect somebody that can be for the public and give people what they want.
We heard that idea echoed in Fulton County.
So I feel like it's just a part of my civic duty, and it's really important that each one of us are voting for what matters to us, what's important to us, so that we can have a say in how the government is run and how we're represented.
Cobb County.
Old people have a tendency
to probably vote for what they believe in.
And in Gwinnett County,
I feel like it is my American duty to help our state of Georgia have a great future, and we know we need it.
no matter who wins, voters told us they want a politician who will represent them in the Senate.
I'm not big into politics. However, I am an African-American woman, and I really take my voting rights serious.
Get up and go vote, people. It's very important.
Get up and go vote, people. That was Mr. Mims asking people in these last 2 hours that the polls are still open to make sure you cast your vote. And we are seeing that. We're here in Gwinnett County. And just as we've been talking, we've seen 3 or 4 people pull into this polling location. They're going to go cast their vote. And again, still have about 2 hours before these polls close. Ron and Jennifer?
Okay. Caitlin, thanks a lot. Just coming into our newsroom tonight, folks, if you vote at Scott Elementary School, this is in Atlanta, your precinct will now stay open until 7 p.m. tonight. Fulton County election officials say a public safety issue actually shut down the school that was earlier today for 20 minutes. So the county was then granted a court order to extend voting hours until 7:20. Everything you need to know about this runoff election, just text the word runoff to the number on your screen. That's 404-885-7600. You can also visit 11alive.com.